Alright, this is the motorcycle turn signal that I'm going to use for a front directional light. Turns out, and this is the lens, it puts just one screw holes under there and it pops off. And this is the reflector was inside. And if you look, you see there's only one contact there. So that means that this does not have a running light. It's either, well, it's either a running light or a directional light, and not both. You got one ground wire and one hot wire. So what I did was, I went to Napa and I bought that switch, or that socket, okay? So that socket is right here. You can see it has two contacts, one for the running light and one for the directional light. And you can also see it's identical in size to the single. So what I did was I took a Dremel tool and let's see if I can see it right here. I don't know if you can see it. There's a spot weld right there. It's like a little indentation, and that's a spot weld. That's what holds this socket into the reflector. So what I did was I went on the inside and I ground it on the inside away. I ground the socket away. I didn't touch the reflector, but I just ground enough so I got that little spot weld out. Alright, and now this comes right out, and this is the same size as the dual. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scuff up the edges of here all the way around, and then scuff it up around here a little bit, and then right around the edge here, and then I'm going to solder that into there, and then I will have my dual filament running light and directional light, front directionals for the hot rod. Alright, cool. Alright, there's the piece in there. That's the dual socket. And what I did was I took the Dremel tool with the sanding wheel, which is over here, one of the little sanding drums, okay, and I used that and I sanded around the socket. Let's see, where's the other one? Okay, right there. You can see I actually sanded this one by mistake. I almost put the single one back on again. But what I did was I sanded all the way around here, and then inside the reflector I sanded that, and then I just sweated it in there. What I did was I put some solder inside the reflector, and then I put some solder on here, and I took this piece and set it down on top here, and it wouldn't go in because there's solder in there, right? So what I did was I held it with a pair of pliers, and I took my propane torch and I set it down in the vise like this, that high, so that when the solder melted and the socket fell down inside, it would hit the vise and wouldn't go all the way through. It would stop when it was flush. So I was holding the reflector this high, and I just heated up around this edge with the torch. It melted the solder, the socket dropped down in until it was flush, and I held it, took the heat away, and just held it there until the solder hardened up. And now that socket is in there, the dual socket. And now I'm just going to put the connector, the wires back in. I'm going to test to see which one is the brake line, the brake light, and which one is the parking light. And I'm going to change the color, because right now they're both black, and when it's in the car I want to know which one is which. So I'm going to put this little red piece of wire on the socket that's going to be the brake, and then I'm going to take a piece of green wire over there. I'm going to solder that to the base here, and that'll be the ground wire. That'll be the third wire coming out of here, because you see this one's already done. I got a red wire for the brake, the black wire is going to be the running light, and the green wire is the ground. And that one's already in there. So that's what I'm doing now. Just stick this in there, and I'll show it to you in a second. Cool. Okay, and now there's the ground wire soldered to the socket, and I'll just put some tape around there to help hold it on there so it won't break free, and assemble it, and should be done. Cool. Alright, I'm going to test it out. And this should be the hot. That's bright. That's the brake light, the red one. And this should be the dim one. And that's the running light. You got the brake light. And then running light. Done. All set.